Wera, Hobhouse.
The demand for electricity is expected to grow so much that in 2050 we could be using twice or nearly 3 times as much electricity as we use today. And more of our energy is now generated by offshore wind farms and solar. This means significant new infrastructure is required to connect this vast amount of cleaner energy from where it is generated to homes and businesses across the country. We have ambitious targets for more offshore wind development in the coming decades, but the grid is simply not ready for it. Now, National Grid has recognized the urgent need for investment, but their great grid upgrade must also confront the challenge of safeguarding our natural environment and indeed the views of our local people. The recently published UK government State of Nature report confirmed catastrophic landscape degradation and loss of wildlife. Britain is now acknowledged to be the most nature-depleted country in Europe and one of the most damaged in the world. It is therefore imperative that alongside the modernization of our national grid, we must prioritize the protection and preservation of our natural surroundings and indeed the amenities of our local community. It is vital that new energy initiatives bring tangible benefits to the communities in which they are located. Since 2013, the National Grid has had the benefit of strategic landscape guidance from an independent panel of national stakeholders selected by the regulator Ofgem. The independent chair throughout this has been Professor Chris Baines, and I've met him on a number of occasions, and he's really inspirational in his views. His visual impact program raised the importance of reduction to the visual impact of overhead lines in some of the most sensitive landscapes across England and Wales. Through a process of close consultation with communities, technical experts, and special interest groups, National Grid and its constructors have successfully carried out major landscape engineering work and landscape restoration in several highly protected and varied landscapes. But this is not the case throughout, and this is really what we need to point out here. There is advice, there is protections, but as the grid needs to expand so rapidly, really National Grid should listen to these experts. And since I have not so much time left, I just want to add also my concerns about what National Grid is saying about the costs of onshore or offshore connections. I would like to share some of the thoughts of Suffolk Energy Action Groups, which I have also met. In their paper titled Britain's Winning Solution, they present the idea that an offshore grid could pool energy offshore and use subsea cables to transport energy closer to demand, coming onshore at brownfield sites, which can become energy super hubs. They say that this would eventually negate the need for 50% of the onshore infrastructure, namely substations and interconnectors crisscrossing the country. Carrying energy closer to demand would also help to mitigate significant costs associated with network capacity issues. The cost to consumers, which has also been mentioned, from wind power's oversupply and need for curtailment payments was estimated to be 106 million in 2020, expected by National Grid to increase to 2.5 billion per annum by 2025. This type of solution has worked already abroad, with Belgium and Denmark building more of the transition networks infrastructure offshore by creating offshore hubs, then taking cabling onshore and at brownfield sites. The UK should at least consider this option. National Grid claims that this would be more expensive. It might be true in the short term. However, we must consider that this integrated approach to connecting offshore projects would significantly reduce the physical infrastructure needed to connect offshore wind farms to the grid. And may I just say, Mrs. Latham, in our transition to net zero, it is so vitally important that we are taking people with us. And if we continue this confrontational approach, we will not get to net zero in 2050 if we alienate our communities. So I urge the government to very carefully look at these solutions, and also National Grid to very carefully listen to the debate today. Thank you.